James Grand's Playbook live stream here. Recording. We're live, James. Not recording. We're live.
Not recording.
Oh, man, long day. We're live for 12 games here on a Tuesday. We record the podcast in the mornings. We're here live at 5 p.m. Eastern to answer all of your lineup questions, break down the slate, give you all the latest news that you guys need to be aware of, talk about weather, whatever it is, we're discussing it. 12 games here on this main slate, James.
12 games. Not recording.
Not recording.
We are live here on the
live. Very live.
If you hope you guys listened to this morning's podcast. John and I had the giggles throughout the whole podcast, but it was a fun one breaking down this 12-game slate. But we've gotten the in-depth analysis since then. We've got lineups out. We got weather since then.
Our Bender's Playbook is out and live for everybody to go read right now.
Out and live. And I'll just give a sneak peek, John. Brandon Drury did make the playbook, and I did message Howard Bender immediately upon reading it. And then he said, well, I have to put him in, and I had to put your name in it so when he goes over for, they know who to blame. So they're going to be coming for us if Brandon Drury goes over for, because we're probably going to talk about
I think the more disappointing thing of today's slate so far is that the Moose will not be on the loose tonight in Colorado. Didn't make the Rockies starting lineup here against Freddie Peralta. They got McMahon at third. They got Crone at first. Their DH tonight is Chris Bryant. So no Mike Moustakas on the slate here. So that one hurts a little.
Darn.
Yeah.
Darn.
The
question of the day when Rockies are in Colorado is the Moose on the list. No,
right.
The Moose is caged on the bench.
I thought there'd be a little revenge game narrative. Like I was all ready for it. I might still play him. He'll get a pinch hit.
You know what? If he gets a pinch hit, you know what? You got a 50% chance he reaches. Let's go to Vegas, John. Enough about Mike Moustakas, who's not on today's slate. There's been some movement today. Most notably, Michael Wacha and the San Diego Padres have jumped from -165 to 205 against the Cincinnati Reds at home. Freddie Peralta and the Brewers up to -170 on the road in Coors. We know we have Coors Field in this slate. That is obviously the elephant in the room, I think, of this slate. Anytime there is Coors Field, do you use Coors? Do you fade Coors? That's like the start of your builds, I would say. Like especially on a 12-game slate, like you do have more options than normal, but the road favorite here, pretty sizable, 170. Hunter Brown and the Houston Astros, home favorites, 190 -195, plus 165 for the San Francisco Giants on the road. Joe Ryan varies depending on sports books you look at, but DraftKings has him -165 up on the road. Garrett Cole, John, we talked about this on the podcast this morning, and we're going to get into it again when we talk about the top arms on the slate. Opened at -175, the Yankees did. -155 on DraftKings Sportsbook, and that really speaks to where the Yankees offense is. They officially, after last night's game, sent Frankie Cordero down. They reactivated Harrison Bader. He is going to make his debut. So, but still, that didn't move the needle at all. I mean, the line has moved in favor of the Indians, or the Indians. It's 3 years now. I am just, what a day. What a start to this show for us. The Guardians, -175. Favorites are the Baltimore Orioles against the Kansas City Royals in Kansas City.
Mm-hmm.
And that's it. That's like the notable money line favorites. Let's see the totals here, John.
Sure.
9.5 in Toronto, Boston. That has stayed put throughout the day. 9.5 open. 9.5 still is today. 9 in Minnesota, Chicago. Minnesota fixing to be one of the most popular offenses of the day. We know how that story goes.
Yeah, every time.
For death taxes, Minnesota letting us down.
I'm in. Minnesota, Milwaukee stack tonight, taking us to the promised land.
Cubbies and Washington, 9 over/under in that game as well. And no movement on the Coors Field game. Open at 11, still 11 across all sports books. Even money on the over, even money and the under. So Vegas doesn't have a lean on whether that is going to go over under the 11 runs, but we know it's Coors Field. We know it's Coors Field. We know it's possible. So, like Kevin Garnett said, John, anything is possible.
Anything is possible. I'll do a little quick weather report here. I know that if you go over again, we like to go reference Kevin Roth, Roto Grinders, great stuff over there. He's got the Boston Toronto game, maybe a late start, spotty showers. I'm looking outside my window. It is pouring outside. Again, I live 10 minutes away from the stadium. I get 2 hours away from game time, maybe. Maybe it moves through here, but we have. I wasn't sure if you could hear the rain banging off the window there or not through the microphone. It is coming down pretty hard. So, yeah, maybe an early delay, late start on this one, given the way it's coming down now. But if it passes within the next 2 hours, maybe we'll be okay. Milwaukee, Colorado has potentially for some rain by first pitch. So maybe a late start to this one here. Seattle, Oakland, same thing. Got a little rain around the opening pitch here, so it could be a late start. So nothing that's looking like we're going to get some postponements here, but maybe some late starts at worst.
Yeah, nothing too notable in terms of weather. I think everything's kind of the only thing I think could matter, John, and tell me if you think I'm a little off. Winds blowing out to right field in Chicago for the White Sox Twins game. And we do like some lefty bats for the Twins. So just another reason to lose money on the Twins, just another reason to go back to
Listen, we're not big Michael Kopech fans here tonight.
no.
Could certainly be firing them up. All right, let's get into it here. We'll go to the pitcher position. If you guys are watching and you have questions, feel free to type them in the chat. James and I are here to help you guys out with your lineup questions. We'll answer some betting questions. If you got any prize picks, underdog, you name it. James and I are here to be at your service. Also, we're talking DraftKings, but if you got a FanDuel question, that's fine. We'll answer a FanDuel question. We'll throw out some lineup assistance for you there as well. So don't shy away from your questions there. Moving on to pitching, like we mentioned here, 12-game slate, so just a billion starters to choose from here. But we broke it down last night. We're riding the Gallon train again, right? That's kind of our number one. And then you and I kind of debated whether or not we went Ryan or Cole 2. I had Ryan 2, Cole 3. You liked Gerrit Cole, just sort of given the fact that he hasn't lost yet, and that if he only allows a run, the Yankees offense can get to BB here today and get the win. I still keep it the same. Nothing's changed for me, but I have grown interest in Hunter Brown a little bit more throughout the day here.
Yeah, so I think it's obviously hard to look past 28 consecutive scoreless innings for Zach Gallen. I think of the guys at the top, he probably does have the toughest matchup. Maybe him and Hunter Brown, like 1A, 1B, but that hasn't necessarily mattered to Zach Gallen because during this scoreless streak, he shut down Milwaukee, and Milwaukee hits righties pretty hard at times. San Diego, we know the thump that they possess. So like Gallen has been pretty awesome during this stretch. So you're right. 4 straight starts of 30 plus fantasy points with upside of 40. Like that's how you win a tournament. If he goes for 40 fantasy points, like, you're doing pretty good. It's pretty much the same as you mentioned. I have no real conviction on which direction after Gallen you want to go. Like the Yankees offense is really bad and they might not score enough runs to get Gerrit Cole the win that you covet when you're paying 11.5 for somebody. Like it's not, if he was 10.5 and Joe Ryan was 10.5, I think it's easy. I think it is Gerrit Cole. I understand Joe Ryan's been great, but just we've already seen a complete game shutout of Gerrit Cole. He has more upside. I think that's just what it is. But we're talking about $1,000 gap between Cole and Ryan, where Ryan can make up. He might be the better per dollar play. We've talked about it a lot. How other than the White Sox 7-run inning the other night, they have been dead all year long. They've had injuries up and down the lineup.
Tim Anderson back tonight, though. It's worth noting.
Tim Anderson is back. Is that enough? They are a 7. They have 9 wins, I think, this year.
I don't know if it's enough because I think that team has quit already. You saw Lewis Robert just walk down the first base the other day on that play. So
that's a little. I didn't like it, and then he left that game with an injury.
Okay.
So I think those two things are correlated. He is in the lineup hitting
So was
fifth.
it an injury or was it your bench? But we'll call it an injury sort of situation.
He's in the lineup. So I
Yeah.
guess that leaves that open. That door is cracked, right? Like that's a so could be a little bit of the latter, what you mentioned.
Yeah.
Because he is back in the lineup. So I guess their top five is pretty good. Anderson, Benintendi, Vaughn, Jimenez, Robert.
Yeah.
But the bottom half of their lineup kind of stinks. And even those guys, like Benintendi is not going to beat you with the home run. Andrew Vaughn, although hit a home run to walk off the other day, still profiles better against lefties. Jimenez has been decent. Luis Robert has been terrible recently. Like after a great start, he's been terrible. So Joe Ryan is a great matchup in this spot. Um, not the best spot to pitch in Chicago. Chicago does fare well for bats.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, but you could say the same thing. Like Yankee Stadium is. I will say though, Yankee Stadium has been a good place to pitch over the last, at least this year. They're bottom 5 in runs scored at Yankee Stadium, and that's
Is
from
that
saying.
because the Yankees aren't hitting?
Yeah, I mean, that could very well be the case.
Just we kind of always go to Fangraphs here and look at some of these metrics here. When you look at weighted WRAA, weighted runs above average, right, is the number of offensive runs compared to the average player. Yankees over the last 7 days dead last, minus 8.6. The White Sox, by the way, fifth worst, minus 5. So compared to the average, they're 8 runs behind the average. Your Boston Red Sox, number 1 team, Minnesota Twins, number 2 team, when it comes to weighted runs above average there. So yeah, we get a little nerdy here sometimes with some of the same metrics. We don't even always understand them, but I do know that negative is bad usually and positive is good. And when you're
Unless you're playing
last,
golf. Unless you're playing
unless you're in
golf.
golf, yeah. So when you're last in something, I don't imagine their weighted runs created. They're dead last. So I mean, just a lot of bad
Well, how about
things there.
I got something for you. So I went to Baseball Savant just to look at some Statcast park factors. Okay, Baseball Savant has a great ballpark page. 3-year rolling average, the park rating for Yankee Stadium is 23rd.
Okay.
I understand like that theoretically, like the right field is so small and whatever. The rest of the ballpark is pretty big. Like center field, left center, right center, that's huge.
Yeah,
So I don't know, just throwing it out there. Like
that's fine.
it
Yeah.
has been better for bats, I think, than we've just kind of normally been used to in the past. Like when the new Yankee Stadium first opened up, like it was just balls flying out, balls flying out, balls flying out. Seemingly not the case anymore. I will still lean Garrett Cole second over Joe Ryan, but I have no problem getting to Ryan if you need the $1,000 to save.
Okay. As we move into that mid-tier range here, I know we didn't love the 8K group here. We weren't really into Urias or Ashcraft as much either. We toyed with the idea of Freddie Peralta in course. Lowest price tag. We've seen him all season long. We noted that when it comes to what was it, the isolated power for Colorado at home this year, they're only 17th. So generally, you think in course, the Rockies lineup is out there just mashing, and they do rank well in the other offensive categories, but not for power. So, if Peralta can miss some bats here tonight, $8,800, kind of an interesting mid-tier play, but it felt like we were going up and then we were going down. We had a couple of value guys we liked.
Yeah, I mean, I don't like. They're fine at home, and that's probably why ultimately I'd stay away from Peralta. I don't think you need to get there, but like this, we said it on the pod. This is the best pitcher that's probably thrown in cores all year. And we've seen some really good performances in cores this year, primarily because the Rockies offense is so bad. I mean, right? Against right-handed pitching this year, it's just all bad for Colorado. 702 team OPS, 134 team ISO. Both of those rank in the bottom 10 in the league. Like,
I mean, you look at this lineup here and tell me what you're afraid of, I guess, right? Jurickson Profar, Chris Bryant, Ryan McMahon, CJ Cron, Elias Diaz sitting fifth, Randall Grichuk's back at least, but better versus lefties generally. Harold Castro, Doyle, and Tovar. I mean,
2, 3, 4,
2, 3, 4.
maybe.
Yeah. Brian
McMahon,
and
Crone.
Crone, but Crone's been awful. Bryant,
McMahon's been subpar, and Brian doesn't have much power anymore.
right. So, like, I don't know, man. I mean, again, we're not like arguing whether or not we think Peralta's viable. We do kind of think he can be. I know you mentioned again that we don't always want to go pitcher in cores, but like Freddie Peralta might be 10% roster tonight, right?
I don't think that. I think it's 1/10 that.
Okay.
I think he might be like 1% because you have 12
starters. Yeah.
you have 12 games, right? You have 24 starters.
Yeah. I mean, he's
And
given me 25 plus fantasy points in 3 of his 5 starts. He got lit up at San Diego, lit up at home against Boston.
I mean, he was a dominant pitcher 2 years ago. And
He's been really good this year. I mean, I mean, he's $8,800, not free, but like I think I like some Freddie Peralta tonight. I do.
Yeah, I would say how I would approach Freddie Peralta is if I'm playing one lineup, I'm probably not getting to Freddie Peralta. If I'm playing multiple lineups, I would have a share. Peralta full send.
He gets it. Mark gets it.
Mark gets it. Yep. I mean, yeah, full send in a sense of like, you really could just look at your lineup an hour into the slate and be like, oh, okay, I can move on to Wednesday's slate.
All right, it could be possible. Other guys down here as we work our way into the next tier again. Kikuchi, we talked about struggles against his struggles there against righties, right?
It's lefties this year. Historically, been righty. He's kind of been good this year. I'll give him his flowers. He's kind of been good. But like it's
Red Sox offense has been good. Do we have a Red Sox lineup yet? Let's see here.
Yeah, we should.
Yep. Okay, we called it on the podcast. Ref Snyder is in fact hitting third. Gross. No Duran. They have Tapia, another lefty. They just swapped lefties here for whatever reason. Tapia's in the lineup. Justin Turner's hitting second. Ref Snyder, Devers, Verdugo leading off. Kike Hernandez is your 5 hitter. Yoshida hitting 6th. Christian Arroyo is hitting 7th. Connor Wong, who I do like as a punt catcher today. We'll get to catcher in a moment. He's hitting 8th, and Raimel Tapia sitting 9th today. So,
can I just say that I kind of like Kikuchi a little more after seeing that lineup? I mean, like, I don't disagree on the Connor Wong thing because we
just looked at his peripheral numbers, right? We talked about like this may not be the spot where he blows up, but like his expected ERA is over 4. There are numbers that go against him here.
Yeah, the fly ball, the hard hit rate are like the two. I would say the two concerning thing. The home run to fly ball rate, 21.4% is like.
Have a high left on base percentage too.
Yeah, 97%.
Right, like the guy is, if not today, his next start. Right, like he's due.
I don't understand I know Ref Steiner is a righty, and I know there has been times where he's hit lefties. You're telling me this guy's hitting third today? I don't.
I'm gonna pull up his splits. Again, he hasn't been that active this year. 273, 779 against lefties. He's 0 for 13 against righties this year. The dude is just not hitting righties at all. 400 slug, 385 on base percentage against lefties this year. Last year, 359 with 1,000 OPS and a 594 slug against left-handed pitching. Like, that's why he's hitting third. Again, it's Rob Ref Snyder, everybody. It's not, it's not Manny Ramirez, but when he's hitting 359 with a 594 slug against lefties last year, there's a reason why he finds himself in the lineup. So,
yeah, I feel like he's gonna end up in the KBO in the matter of a couple of years. So like,
the Red Sox aren't a very good team. They kind of need that.
Hey, you guys are over. You're not last anymore in the division.
True.
So
it's true. We're not last. I'll let you make all the dad jokes on Wells, but I do think Wells is interesting here against.
I got all my jokes out.
Thankfully, Taylor Wells against Kansas City here. I don't mind at $7,300. I think that's fine for him. And then we looked at BB against the Yankees again. Made his debut. He's one of their top pitching prospects. 5 2/3 and earned 8 Ks against Colorado. Yankees lineup here, just again, minor league team. Volpe, Torres, Rizzo, LeMahieu sitting cleanup, and then you go Bader, Calhoun, Cabrera, Trevino, Hicks. So almost every pitcher has gone through and just cut this lineup down. Cal Quantrill, for crying out loud, had maybe his best start in a year and a half last night. So,
Brutal.
it's not great. So I do think that, BB's got some interest. The problem is, like, is Cleveland going to score in Cole? So, problem there. And then both Millers here. We got Mason Miller going up against Seattle. We got Bryce Miller going up against Oakland. Bryce Miller making his MLB debut. We talked about it. You saw the clip on Twitter. Hopefully, if not, go check it out on Twitter. $4,000, a ridiculous strikeout rate last year. Moved through 3 levels of the minor league system. Top 100 prospect, number 2 prospect in the Seattle Mariners organization, their top pitching prospect. We know all the struggles that Oakland has here, but he has been very bad at AA this year. He's made 4 starts. He's got 23 hits and 19 innings allowed, but he's $4,000. And then Mason Miller, we know, off to a little bit of a rough start, but we know he has some elite strikeout potential. The guy throws over 100 miles an hour with a breaking ball. And then if you just kind of look at some of the recent numbers here for both of these teams, they're not good at all, actually. If you look at it against right-handed pitching, especially here, strikeout rates, Seattle over the last week, 161 plate appearances, 37% strikeout rate against righties. 194 average, 266 batting average in balls in play, 283 WOBA. Oakland is number 2 in strikeout rate, 28.8%. Just as bad everywhere else. 169 ISO, a little bit better WOBA, 327. We kind of made a lineup with the Bryce kid because he's 4K and you can fit more hitters in there. Both of these pitchers are kind of profiling as intriguing values given 1, the ballpark, and 2, the matchup.
And John, I think we were pretty spot on with our interest. The public is also aligned with us. The first and third highest projected rostered pitchers tonight, both have the last name Miller.
Right.
Bryce Miller is third. Mason Miller is first. I would lean the Bryce Miller way. I think that's both of us probably agree. Because Oakland has been, I think, Oakland is obviously less potent, right? Like Seattle could break out.
Seattle doesn't have Brent Rooker. So, I mean, there is that.
There's that. I mean, I personally, someone who has like spent $60 on Julio Rodriguez in an auction draft, would have spent that 60 on Brent Rooker if I knew, how things would have played out.
I would have spent $80 on Jorge Mateo had I known. But,
that is also true. Yeah, I mean, I think both Millers are in play. I think this game is going to be low scoring. What is the over-under here? 8? And that's what it opened at, and it's what it stayed at. The under in some places is the lean, too, on some sports books. Under 8. It's really hard to go anywhere else or want to go anywhere else in this tier. Like, I could see a case to getting to Hayden Wesneski, considering how bad Washington's been against righty.
I know.
And he's actually been pretty good in 2 of his last 3 starts. $5,300. 2 of the last 3 he's won. We both really like the Cubs offense here. Yeah. So there's some win equity attached to his name as long as he gets through 5. He's only done it twice, but he's won both those games, allowed 1 earned or less, including just 1 earned against the Padres last time out. He's not
his big start came against Oakland. So
right. So I do think that there is some little merit to getting to Wesneski.
Small S some.
Yeah, he is I think behind the other 2 guys for me in terms of like who I'd rank. Like the Millers are first and second, and then Wesneski's probably third in terms of value. Mm-hmm. But I do think when you look at the ownership on the first 2 guys, you're like, oh, if I want to be different in a tournament, 100, 150 max, 20 max, Wesneski is wedged in between those guys. I don't think he's a terrible pick.
Can I tempt you on some Matt Strom numbers here?
Yep.
Okay. Again, small sample sizes. We like playing with small sample sizes, not usually, but that's all we have at the moment. Last 7 days, Los Angeles Dodgers against left-handed pitching. 31.7% strikeout rate. 173 average, 230 slug, 058 ISO, 246 average. 246 WOBA.
Pretty bad.
Pretty bad for a guy in Matt Strom who is striking out a lot of people.
Yeah, he has struck out a lot of people. I would say the only argument to that is Will Smith wasn't there for half the time because he came off the IL 4 games ago.
Sure.
Muncy, same thing, came back the same day as Will Smith 4 games ago.
Muncy's a lefty though.
Yeah, he hits lefties. I think he hits lefties fairly well. That could be a stretch, and I could just
last 14 days will increase the sample size. Dodgers against lefties, 37.8% strikeout rate.
Oh, God.
124 average, 157 slug, 170 WOBA.
All right, well, you win this.
They're just not hitting left-handed pitching, man.
If Strom is,
last those 30 days, we'll keep going. Last 30 days, 30% strikeout rate, 164 average. Let's see, 272 WOBA, slugging 333, 169 ISO.
Yeah, on the year, I mean, just seasonal averages. They have the 5th highest strikeout rate against lefties. They have a 626 team OPS, which is 27th. So yeah, I mean, look, nobody's gonna play the guy. It's similar. Slot him in next to Wesneski. Nobody's gonna play these two because it's like, all right, if the Dodgers break out, I'm dead. Like Matt Strom is not making another.
But if you're playing a deep tournament today,
no, agreed. I agree. I'm with you. Guy has, and you know what? We finally got in that start where he had 11 strikeouts. I don't understand why he went back to 60 pitches. Like that's incredibly frustrating to start after. Got the 82 pitches, right? Like that's what we've wanted for Matt Strom. But please explain to me why we're being capped at 60 pitches, 5 scoreless, two base runners, 2. They were just like, you know what? That's 2 more than we wanted. See ya.
I mean, yes, I would agree with you that is very annoying. But
because if he gets in any trouble, if there is any trouble,
yeah, you get the Cincy game, 2 2/3, he's out.
And on a 12-game slate with chalk below him, that is like almost $3,000 less. You're dead in the water.
They let him go at 82 though.
Yeah, so that's what I don't get. This is the part about some managers I don't get.
Was there a rain delay in that game? Do we know?
No, maybe the 2 base runners reached in the 6th. I do not have the answer.
Yeah, I'm pulling up this. What game was that?
Seattle 427.
Okay, so just the other day. Let's see.
I don't understand it because it's not even, that's his second lowest pitch count of the year. Mm-hmm. We're 5 starts in. Usually pitch counts are being built. You just built to 82 pitches to start before. 11 strikeouts. I get it, if you want to trust your bullpen, but has he not been kind of feels like he's earned the respect to not have your
they let him start bullpen. The inning. Looks like he got JP Crawford out. And then it was the top of the lineup, so they just pulled them. Julio Rodriguez, Ty France. They brought in.
Maybe it's worth some. Maybe there is something that we have not looked at about Matt Strom 3rd time around.
Maybe, right? Maybe he's just capped at 5. Right, 5 1/3, 5 1/3. I wonder if against Colorado they pulled him after he faced a lefty. Let's see here. When did he get pulled? Who did they pull him for? Where's Strom at? Strom. Yep, that's what happened. They let him face Ryan McMahon, got him out, pulled him for CJ Cron. So they let him basically face, if a lefty is leading off the 6th, they let him pitch to him and then they pull him. So maybe he's capped at 5.
I'm looking too, just to your point, he has only faced 5 batters for a 3rd time in a game. So he is literally just getting through the lineup twice, and they do not want him to face the lineup the third time. He has a 6.75 ERA the third time around in those 5 batters. That's frustrating, and that's kind of what would turn me off. I would rather just use one of the Millers, because I'm not disputing the numbers are there. The numbers are
great,
telling us like
if he's only going 5 innings, that's gross.
you can't. If this was a 4-game slate, right? The slate that he was against Colorado, it was a 4-game slate, right? I remember it was him, Rosie Contreras. Those were the 2 winning pitchers on that slate.
Yeah.
Both had big games. We didn't care about the pitch count then, but a 12-game slate, that's where you have to.
Yeah, that's fair. All right, let's go on over to catcher position here again. We got some lineups. Oh, I mentioned already, I like Connor Wong. It's just a punt play on this slate. Hits lefties well. He's on fire right now. 346, 893. Homered yesterday. 5 hits the last 2 games. This is kind of what he does. He was a bat first guy at AAA last year. He even had 7 stolen bases, so that stolen base a couple day isn't really that fluky. If we're punting for me, it's Connor Wong today, but if we're not punting today, James, where's your catcher targets?
Definitely like Adley Rutschman, 5,300. I think he's clearing away the top spend of the slate. If you want to go down a little bit, William Contreras or Wilson Contreras, I think both are in play. William Contreras hitting 5th today. Brewers lineup just came out. They have him slotted behind Rowdy Tellez, in between Brian Anderson, 2 guys that you and I both like. Nice little 4-5-6 stack with Adames hitting 3rd. So that 3 through 6 really connects well. So I like William Contreras. Wilson Contreras has hit lefties. He's done some damage. What can the Cardinals get going is the answer. Like, they're hitting Contreras 3rd, so they're trying to change something up, right? Like they're clearly
Tyrone Taylor back for Milwaukee.
Yeah, interesting piece that lineup, and we mentioned it last night. Righties have been what's given Ryan Feltner more problems than lefties. Yep. So I do like Tyrone Taylor there as well. I think we're just going to see the Brewers massively chalky. It just is what it is. So I like both Contreras brothers, Rutschman. I mentioned Blake Sable. I don't think you can go there, but he had another hit on Monday. Gabriel Moreno, 3,200, I think is firmly in play. Either Blue Jays catcher, like you want to go there, by all means. I think that's in play. And then Connor Wong. I will mention Kyber Ruiz tonight, John, and we talked about it on the pod this morning. 313 average against right-handed pitching, hitting 3rd. So Kyber Ruiz hitting 3rd, I think, is a little intriguing for Washington.
Chad Wallach, and small sample size here, but lefties. He's had 8 at bats. He's 2 for 8, 2 home runs. So, yeah.
If the outside chance of a home run is good by me.
Yeah, there you go. All right, first base position here again. Last night we were in on a few. Gallo hitting 7th though.
Tough.
Yep. Tough.
Yep.
Yeah, that is unfortunate for us here. Mountcastle against Yarbrough at 47. We know he hits lefties pretty well.
I guess you could attach. There's like a couple pieces you could play with Gallo, like Kepler hitting 6th, Larnach hitting 4th. Yeah, like those are kind of connecting.
What does their lineup look like tonight?
So Minnesota's Buxton, Polanco, Correa, Larnach, Miranda, Kepler, Gallo, Vasquez, Michael Taylor.
So like they go back and forth with Kepler leading off, and then versus a righty, they have him hitting 6. Like, what is
that? That's probably trying to.
Why is Jose Miranda hitting in the middle of your lineup?
Righty lefty breakup.
It's not. Oh, the breakup, the righty lefty. Yeah,
Larnach.
I guess, but
lefty,
like
righty.
He's a better hitter. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Like that should be a Buxton. Have Kepler lead off. Have Buxton hit 5th or whatever, right? Like, I don't know. To me, Miranda, I get it. He hit for a lot of power at the minor league level, and this year he looked good. Okay, last year, playing more like his cousin this year than he is a baseball player. So
who's his cousin?
Lin-Manuel, isn't that what this? Isn't the
really?
Yeah.
Miranda?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, the Broadway dude.
Oh, I didn't know that. Well,
I'm not making that up, I don't think.
I mean, I don't know. I'm asking you. You're the one bringing it to the you're here, the one bringing it to the table,
It's his
John.
cousin. Yeah, it's his cousin, Lin-Manuel Miranda, the dude that was in the Hamilton play.
Well, I'm not as cultured as you. Okay, you're clearly like.
So anyways, he's playing baseball like he's a Broadway musical star and not an actual baseball player.
Okay. All right, dude.
Anyways,
sorry.
All right.
Gosh.
All right. Now that we've established that.
Just get to Brandon Drury, 4,100. I mean, you can play him at first or second.
We want to play him at second though, because second kind of sucks. But
yeah, but first also like, I don't know. First isn't like I mean Rowdy, right? It's Rowdy.
Yeah,
we're getting Rowdy, and then
I still would play Gallo.
I would play Gallo. Feels better as a one-off than like connecting, but you can if you wanted to play Larinack and Kepler. But
we didn't mind Pavin Smith. He's at the outfield eligibility now, 2 at 34.
Yep.
Third tonight.
Yep.
Pretty decent.
So Corbin's still out, I assume, right? Is that? I'm assuming.
Yeah, Corbin Carroll's out again.
Yeah.
I mean, Lamonte Wade is only hitting home runs. I understand Hunter Brown hasn't given up a home run yet.
That's the problem.
But 4 home runs in 5 games for Lamonte here.
Yeah, one-off. If you're playing any Giants, it's a one-off, right? Like
one-off.
if you're, you just can't stack Giants.
Yeah. And then you mentioned last night, I mean, Nick Prado's 24, Dom Smith is 2,300. Dom Smith, 3 hits last night for Dom Smith. It's starting to heat up a little bit as well. 289, 778 as a homer. Got hits off a lefty last night. I mean, that's the way he's rolling right now. So I know you mentioned Wesneski a little bit here, but Dom's 23. I know this is more like multi-entry lineups here, not your core most likely. Matt Carpenter, if he's in lineup, I don't mind that against Ashcraft. That's probably it for me at first base.
I would take a look at Hosmer, and that's mainly because Trevor Williams is very bad against lefties, and that has been just kind of like that's been a mainstay. Like he's been bad against lefties for a few years. That's not any different this year. 309 average for lefties, 850 OPS, 363 WOBA. Hosmer coming around a little bit, 286 average. Both his home runs over his last 10 games. Hit one 4 games ago. He has a hit in 6 straight games. I don't know. I would dart throw Hosmer if not playing him in a Cub stack, because the more I've looked at things today and since last night, the more I just want to play lefties against the Cubs. They have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They have 5 lefties in the lineup.
Lefties against the Nationals?
Yeah, lefties against Trevor Williams. So I would probably play.
Well, we built our lineup this morning. We had Bellinger and Happ already in there, so we were kind of feeling that anyways. All right, second base position again. We like Drury at 41. Is there? I mean, Edmund is leading off, so I kind of like going there as well against Sandoval here. Dubon, another big night for him last night.
Monster night, huh?
Yeah, 3,700 for him. It feels just a little. He's playing above this, so I kind of feel that range here. Dubon, Edmund, Drury for me.
Yeah, it's Dubon, Edmund, Drury. I think if you were to spend up, like if you were playing full Cub stack, Nico Horner is probably in play, just given what he could do. Stolen base, hit, stolen base, run, hit, stolen base, run. Could do that twice. You have 20 fantasy points just like that. Jorge Polanco is hitting second, maximizing his at-bats against Michael Kopech. And Polanco's been great. 333 thus far. I think you get to either of those guys, but I'm pretty much with you. Drury, Edmund, Dubois. And then if you're like dart throwing, I know, I did mention Wesneski, but like the Nationals do have a lot of interesting pieces hitting near this top of the lineup. Like Luis Garcia has been good. 4 hits or 4 games with a hit, 2 in his last 5, 2 multi-hit games, 2 multi-RBI games with a stolen base mixed in there too. Like I don't hate the top of this Washington lineup. But conversely, I don't also hate Wesneski either.
All right. Third base position here, generally loaded up for us. We got Devers, Ramirez, Chapman is your top 3 here. Machado's at 52. McMahon's got the Coors Field. Arenado at 47. Bregman's 45, hitting second tonight. Thoughts on the first half of this third base position?
Yeah, I mean, we talked about it this morning. Kikuchi's been bad against lefties, so I'm okay getting to Rafael Devers. I don't. I liked more when he was hitting second, but I guess there's more RBI potential for him hitting fourth. Like he hit the 3-run home run in the first inning the other day, and that was great. Was it the first inning, second at bat? I don't know, whatever at bat it was. I think it was his first at bat. Probably not going to get to Ramirez. Chapman, I think, is fine. Offense in Boston, he's been scorching hot outside of the one day you need him. Not going to get to Rojas. 54 is just ludicrous for this guy. He's a good baseball player. He's not $5,400. That's crazy.
No, I agree. For sure not.
I'm probably not very interested in much of this tier. I would
like Brian Anderson, right? That was kind of our guy.
Brian Anderson. I like Rendon 42, right above him.
Yeah.
If playing Angels,
he's been so bad for like forever. So.
It's just been injury. It's been injury induced forever. And it's not like he was out this year and then he was suspended. So yeah, I get it. He's definitely been better lately. Matz has definitely struggled against right-handed bats. So hitting fourth behind Trout, Ohtani, there's a lot of run production available to him. It is Brian Anderson. At the end of the day, I think he is the better play over Rendon. But I do have mild interest in Anthony Rendon, especially if playing Angel stacks.
Yeah, I know it's not against a lefty, but Senzel has just been smashing baseballs as well.
He has been crushing. Another home run last night. 3 home runs in his last 5. Multi-hit games and 5 of 6.
Yeah, a guy we've usually played against lefties, but it just feels like right now he's locked in against Waka, who's been terrible. So
yeah, you know what's interesting, John? Like Waka is the biggest favorite on the board. Again, that's a testament to.
But so was Snell last night too.
True,
obviously.
Right? But it's like interesting because the Reds are just getting. The Reds are like they're not. Though they are what they are, right? But they're sending one of their best pitchers to the mound. Michael Waka is getting crushed by everybody.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like it's not like they're bad or it's not like. The Reds are not throwing a formidable lineup out there. Righty's hitting 309 against Waka with an 890 OPS, 381 WOBA. I mean, I'm not sitting here saying stack the Reds. I'm also saying if that's where you fall, don't feel bad that that's where you got to.
Yeah. Anybody else down here at third base for you?
Yeah, Edwin Rios, lefty against Trevor Williams.
Okay.
He was a former Dodger. Yep. He has some pop. He has some really good pop from the left side of the plate. Has not been great this year. It's been a very limited sample, just 2 hits and 18 at-bats. But good lefty power bat, hitting 6 tonight, connects to your Cubby stacks.
Yep, I'm with you. Shortstop here. I mean, it's expensive, but we definitely like Adames. This is he smashes right-handed pitching.
Yep.
Good success in cores over his career, and we looked at it. The numbers for Felton are there, a little reverse splits. Far better against lefties than righties. So everything's queuing up for Adames. Hard to ignore what Bo Bichette did last night. 5 for 5, back-to-back games now with a homer. You got a guy in your lineup that goes for 35 fantasy points. You're probably in the money. Considering I think 3 pitchers got into double digits last night. So you got a pretty big advantage there playing Bo Nose. So for me, it's Adames, it's Bichette, and I mean I'll always play Mateo at 47. He's just on fire right now. Again,
Dude, he's hitting 5th, John.
I know.
We're moving up, baby. We're moving up.
He can't be denied.
No, he cannot. No, I mean 5th is too low. Why are we still hitting him 5th?
I'd rather hit him 2nd, right?
Dude, he has literally been their best player. And I wonder what Baltimore, going through Baltimore's head. It's okay, we have Adley Rutschman, we have Gunnar Henderson, we have Cedric Mullins, but our best player this year has been Jorge Mateo.
All right. It's wild. $4,700. I'd pay it.
Yep.
Again, I like Edman with the multi-position eligibility there. Nito, you mentioned $2,700.
Back in
He's
leadoff.
leading off.
Yeah. Yep.
So that's
Bingo.
a prime spot for him tonight too.
Bingo. I think that's the play. Righty lefty. Steven Matz has been terrible against right-handed bats this year. And he's been better, Nito. 333 over his last 10 games. Like there's a reason why he's hitting leadoff. He even swiped a base on Sunday, multi-hit games in the 2 games prior. So now we're getting to see multifaceted Zach Nito, and that's why when he first got called up, they put him in the leadoff spot. Yes, it was obviously too early.
Ohtani tonight. They have Renfroe hitting third.
Love that. Literally love that so much.
So
I mean, not that Ohtani's not in the lineup, but that Renfroe's hitting third.
You play Nato, Trout, Renfroe stack. You can get there, So
well, and don't forget, you're literally excluding the 5 hitter in that lineup as well.
Yes, that's true. Yeah, that's true. All right. Outfield.
Again,
a lot of options here. Again, Trout's hitting second. He's 63. We can go back to Jordan and Tucker if we want the pain, but it's there. Said Mull's hitting 9th as a $5,900 player.
Yeah, you just can't get there.
Rodriguez may not even play tonight. Maybe that's another reason to take a look at the other Miller.
Yep. Little back tweak there.
Yeah. So I don't know, man. Tell me about the top tier. What's your spot?
It's Trout. But there's not a lot before we get to Buxton, probably. Like, I could see, like, there's obviously cases to be made for all these guys. Tatis is elite. Jordan's an elite. Like, all these guys are elite players. But in terms of DFS, I do like Buxton a little bit. He has been in one of those stretches. I think that's why he's leading off, John. It's like, when Byron Buxton is going, going. You want to maximize his at-bats.
If he can just stay healthy for a year, man,
Right. Hits in 9 of his last 10 games, and we have the 5 home runs over the last 10 games. Like, this is what he can be. He can be a 40 home run guy if you get him 150 games. So Buxton 54 against Kopech.
Hap at 51. Are you playing Buxton or Hap?
So I think,
or is that just all lineup construction? Like if you're playing Minnesota, you play Buxton. If you're playing Cubs, you're playing Hap.
I think that's the thing, because if I'm playing Cubs, I'm getting Ian Happ in my lineup. Sure. No doubt. I would, if the question is, and if we exclude both teams, if the question is one-offs, if I want Buxton or Happ, I'm probably going Buxton. I just think that there's more upside.
Okay.
Happ feels better in a Cub stack. Buxton feels better as a one-off. And then I'm just going right to Hunter Renfroe and not looking back at 4,900. This guy has been a lefty destroyer for like years. Boston, Milwaukee, wherever he's been, he's just hit lefties extremely well.
It's weird that teams keep moving on from him too, because
it's so weird. He was so good.
In Boston, 31 home runs, 96 RBIs. Gets traded in Milwaukee, 29 home runs, 72 RBIs in 125 games. Now he's on his 3rd team in 3 years.
What was the reason that Boston only used him, had him for 1 year? Like, what was?
They needed like salary relief. I think they traded to get back Jackie Bradley, I think.
Yeah, but wasn't that the year that they signed Trevor Story to that $150 million deal too?
To your point though, against lefties this year, he is 9 for 25. That's a 360, a 600 slug, and a 993 OPS. So, smash ball of the against the lefties there. More mid-tier guys that I think are worth taking a peek at here. You talked about Santander against lefties. I think that's fine. And then we went to Bellinger last night at 4K, hitting cleanup tonight.
Love it.
1,000 OPS, 4 homers and 2 stolen bases last 10 games. So, the mid range is okay. There are some guys you can put into your lineup stacks, but we kind of went right down into this 4K and under range.
Dude, look at just the output from Bellinger nightly. There has been one game this entire year that he hasn't scored fantasy points. One. This is a guy who more often than not didn't score fantasy points last year. Just reinvigorated in the middle of this lineup. The strikeouts, 18 strikeouts in 25 games. That's been great to see. The walks are back up. The power is obviously the
Right.
most eye-popping thing. 7 bombs. He's a core play for me tonight. I'm obviously I'm not like, if you guys haven't noticed, like John and I like the Cubs tonight quite a
Yeah.
bit. So yeah, and the playbook also reflects that. If you go over to fantasyalarm.com and look at the playbook out by Howard Bender today, I'm sure he'll talk to you guys in 10 minutes over on the SiriusXM show,
Yeah.
the Fantasy Alarm SiriusXM show about it too. Cubs are in a very good spot, especially the left-handed bats.
Yep. And we're not in a Walker. I mean, TJ Friedo's 37
Yep.
and Fraley's 39.
Yep.
Decent potential spots for them. Brent Rooker, as you mentioned, is 3,800. I mean, this dude is almost 5 homers the last 10 games, a 900 slug the last 10 games. I mean, that is
It's only 5. It feels like it's a home run every night.
that is just insane numbers for Brent Rooker there. We mentioned Pavin Smith, Larnick hitting 4th, cleanup at 3,400 is decent.
Yep.
Let's see here. I mean, Eloy's 3K is crazy.
I know, it's nuts. He had a big game. He had a 3-hit game on the ledger. 4 hits, sorry, the other night. Like, we know he's a good baseball player. He is not a 3K baseball player. It's just a tough spot. If you want to use him, I would say if you want to use him as a one-off, that's probably fine.
Sure. All right. What other outfielders? Anybody else for value here?
Dylan Carlson gets a lefty. He's just only hit lefties his whole career. The only problem is, if Sandoval doesn't give you length, does Dylan Carlson see the end of this game? Does he get pinch hit for hitting 5th? Like, that's the one thing you have to worry about. Henry Ramos, another red. I know we're beating these reds into the ground. Switch hitter. Has started off this year really, really good against right-handed pitching. 417 average. It's a 12 at-bat sample, but lefties have 1,000 OPS and a 429 WOBA. To your point about Friedel and Fraley.
That's what I'm saying, right? Like,
dude, I'm not going to sit here and tout the Reds because it's a tough ballpark to, like,
the biggest underdog on the board today.
Yeah, so. Biggest underdog on the board. But, like, they are interesting just considering how bad Waka's been at times. So,
right. Yeah, I mean, he's hitting 7th. He's off to a pretty good start there. So, all right, let's build our lineup here. We got a couple more minutes to go in the show. I plugged in
Tyrone Taylor, by the way, 2,300. Tyrone Taylor, 2,300, making his debut.
What were his splits last year?
He had an 828 OPS on his rehab assignment at AAA this year.
Let's see, 2022 Tyrone Taylor, 17 homers. The average obviously wasn't that great for him, but
that's a good amount of home runs.
Yeah, he's kind of even splits, honestly. Against righties, 237, 451 slug, get a 420 slug against lefties, 730 OPS, 720 OPS. So he had 12 of his 17 home runs against righties. So maybe a spot for him there.
213 ISO, dude. That's good. Like, he was selling out for home runs here.
14 doubles, 2 triples, and 12 home runs against righties. So could be a spot. Again, I plugged Bellinger and Happ already in the lineup. So where did we had probably have to play Wong for value at catcher.
Depending on we'll see, because we found out pretty quick last night that I don't know if value is even needed. Well, if we're gonna play one of the Millers.
Yeah, I got Bryce in there.
Okay.
I got Gallen and Bryce. Yay or nay?
Yes.
Okay. With Wong, Bellinger, and Happ, it's about 5K a player. So we can take him out, Wong, and it's 45 a player. So
I mean, I'm okay using Connor Wong. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying I don't know if that's like as plug and play for me as it is you. Because if we have 4,500 a player.
If we play Kybert instead, it's 48 a play. So
okay. I mean, I'm fine with.
I just look at Red Sox lineup versus.
Yeah, Wong. We can play. Let's play Connor Wong 2,200. That's fine.
But we'll see. We'll see what the money is at the end.
You should see the lineup that I've constructed.
You have Rowdy in there, or
I included Tyrone Taylor in there just to see what it would look like, and I also included Connor Wong. I have $6,300 a player for a third baseman and an outfielder.
Yeah, So you play Trout and you play Devers or something like that, right? So what's your first baseman? Is it Rowdy?
Yeah, it's Rowdy.
And then Adames, I would imagine, short.
Yep. And then Drury.
Drury. I got 5K at play. We liked Renfroe.
Yeah, I think Renfro's that. Yes.
And then that's a 5K third baseman. We can get the cores, or we can play. I mean, I think we plugged Brian Anderson in there, which is why we were like, oh, we don't need to spend down a catcher.
Yep.
So,
yep.
Kyber can plug right in there.
Is this the same lineup we built last night?
I think it might be.
Morning?
We really liked what we did this morning. So, it definitely could be. It could certainly be that lineup again.
I think it is. I think it's the same lineup that we built.
That's fine by me. Again, Bryce Miller, Zach Allen, Kyber Ruiz, Rowdy Tellez, Brandon Drury, Ryan Anderson, Willie Adames, Cody Bellinger, Ian Happ, Hunter Renfroe. We built it this morning. We then just organically rebuilt the lineup here just now. I don't know what I would change about it, honestly. Like, there's
how about we do this? Why don't we, because we have a couple minutes, why don't we did this the last time too. Why don't we build a course fade?
Course fade, okay.
Just, and again, this is just like, sure. I think you and I both are in agreement we're playing cores, but just to show people what it would look like without cores.
All right, threw NATO in at shortstop.
Agreed. I think that would be the exact direction I'd go as
well.
What do we have?
So what do we have? $6,100 player. I guess we can not play Bryce Miller, right?
Yeah, we could go in a different direction in pitcher. Maybe a double spend up at pitcher since we're not doing cores. Maybe Joe Ryan, Gallen. See what we got.
Yeah, we need to punt third baseman if that ends up being the case. And Rios.
I got the line. All
right, give it to me.
I got the line. Oh no, it's not a course fade. I take it back.
Who's the course play?
I still had Rowdy and Tyrone Taylor in my lineup.
Oh yeah, that won't work. I got Joe Ryan, Zach Gallen, Kyber Ruiz. Do we have a 3,600
first baseman?
Oh, we're $100 off Dubon. No, we'll go Connor Wong then. We'll do Connor Wong. All right, so this is what I got. Drury's at first. And a $4,300 second baseman.
Tommy Edman.
Yeah, I guess we could do Edman. So I was either Edman or Dubon. I was going to go either one. All right, so I got Ryan, Gallen, Wong, Drury, Edman, Rios at third.
Yeah.
NATO, Bellinger, Happ, and Renfroe. So we kind of keep it. But again, we add another Cub to that lineup for us here. We got the 3-4-6 Cub stack. We got a one-off leadoff Tommy Edman. We got Drury and Renfroe mini stack. We got a one-off.
NATO.
Oh,
we got the 1-3. We got the 1-3-5.
1-3-5. Not total cohesion, but it works. And then we got Connor Wong there as the one-off with the double spend. So 2 lineups we built for everybody there. We'll be in the Discord till roster lock. If you're not yet a member of the Fantasy Down family, you see the scroll down at the bottom. You get 50% off the first 6 months. That takes you through the NFL season here. Promo code MLB50, $19.98 a month for the first 6 months. There you get access to everything we have on site. And right now we have a 7-day free trial as well. So you sign up, get the 7-day free trial, get access to all the content we have for all sports, seasonal and DFS and the Discord, and see what Fantasy Alarm is all about here today. James and I will be back for tomorrow, Wednesday slate here. Good luck,